Hello everyone. The other day I came across a sign which said, "The biggest communication problem is we do not listen to understand, but we listen to respond." This profound insight encapsulates some of the concepts behind what we explored in Module 3, the concepts of CQ strategy and CQ action. Livermore noted that CQ strategy is how we use the understanding that we gain from CQ knowledge. It describes how leaders need to be reflective, to be aware of themselves and their assumptions about the world along with their motivations. Otherwise, the results of not doing so will be disastrous. It is, in essence, to do as the grade school maxim to stop, look, and listen. Or in the words of that famous lyricist, Ice Cube, you better check yourself before you wreck yourself. CQ strategy, as we saw, is divided up into 3 subdomains of planning, awareness, and checking. All 3 of these subdomains further illustrate this whole idea of metacognition. While cognition, which is associated with CQ knowledge, refers to what we know, it is metacognition that takes it up to the next level. Metacognition is the awareness of how we know and perceive. Too often our actions, which we will talk about in a bit, are automatic and come as a result of our experiences and how we view the world. In our discussions this week, some of you discussed this concept of implicit bias and how one's assumptions are automatically embedded in how they think and behave. The view of the world and of others has been shaped by things like experience and environment, and the things we don't even think about, how we act, speak, or behave. Now take this concept and apply it to culture. Behaviors that people take for granted are seen as foreign in another culture. Perhaps the best way to see this metacognition in action is to think about when you get back from a vacation or an unfamiliar place, or even meet a person for the first time. If you stop and think about your experience, not only can you learn about that place or person, but it could prompt you to ask why you are asking about those things in the first place. Hopefully, as you start reflecting on your new experience, you will also reflect on your previous experiences, and some contrasts and commonalities will be evident. All this boils down to CQ action, which is what it says it is: actions that are done. Actions can be both verbal and nonverbal in nature, and Livermore puts an emphasis on communication, down to the very words and topics that come out of our mouths. Going further, what tone and rate of speech do you use? Do you use your hands when speaking? What about your volume and facial expressions? In one of your posts, I mentioned the importance of rhetoric and the power of words, especially from leaders. Historian Larry Witham captured this best in his book called A City Upon a Hill, which looked at history through the lens of rhetoric and the power that words had in shaping the American Republic. Another article pertinent to this issue was written by Rebecca Lowenhaupt, who explored the importance of rhetoric, words that principals and school leaders used to transform school practice. Words and actions are all great things to think about, and our book in Chapter 7 highlights some questions to consider which can help shape our actions and behaviors. I recommend you take a look at those one more time and think about your own situation. The saying, "When in Rome, do as the Romans do." And to some extent that may be true, but knowing what we know about our journey so far into cultural intelligence, the secret is to prepare before you even get to Rome. Next week, we'll take what we know and start looking into how organizations view diversity and culture. What does it mean to have a diverse organization, and what are the characteristics of what makes organizations culturally intelligent? You've looked at yourself, and so we'll look at the environments you find yourself in. We'll take a look at a tool called the Diversity Scorecard that evaluates an organization's level of CQ. Finally, we'll integrate all this with some of the leadership theories that you're already familiar with, the trait, skills, and behavioral approaches to leadership. So you might want to brush up on those notes you took back in LDRD 606. In any case, that's all for now, and as always, continue posting and responding through the weekend, and I will see you all online.